All right, Nick. Since last week, the Gators have won. They've gone, I think, 3-1 since last Monday, or 2-1 since last Monday. So the Gators advance. A couple big wins. Ultimately, get there by beating TCU. They win all three of their first three games out in Omaha by 1 run. And then they lose to LSU in game 1 on Saturday night in extra innings. 5-4, right? And then yesterday, the Gators absolutely destroyed LSU. The score was 3-1 LSU going into the bottom of the second inning. The Gators rattle off 23 straight runs to win 24-4 yesterday. So, Nick, talk just a little bit about the last week in Gainesville, or in Omaha, sorry.
No idea about Gainesville. Haven't been there in 84 years. Florida by way of going 3-0. That third game against TCU was a roller coaster with Jack Caglione. That first inning, he struck out 3, but he also walked 3 and had 2 wild pitches. So keeping you on the edge of your seat. Florida gets the win by way of winning and going 3-0. They're allowed to rest everybody. While LSU lost game 2 to Wake Forest, they had to play 4 games in 4 days. Their pitching staff is stretched thin. Paul Skenes, who is the best pitcher in the country, had to throw against Wake Forest to get into the final. And now, if you watch the game, you've heard that name before. I was told Paul Skenes was talked about for most of the 24-4.
Yeah, every time Florida was rounding the bases yesterday, they highlighted his mustache. Yeah,
it's not a bad mustache, Dan.
You with it now?
Yeah. But shout out to Paul Skenes. I don't know.
No. We won't be doing that.
He went to the Air Force. Wants to somehow defend our country or serve our country. But he is 6'6", and I think that's too big to fight fighter jets. So
is LSU team full of like dads with plumber jobs? Man, they look like a very old team, man.
Yeah,
like veteran car mechanics.
The guy that hit the home run in extra innings on Saturday. Yeah, he no joke. He looks like a guy that's 40 years old, probably a middle manager at a Goodyear factory.
Yeah. Fifth year senior.
It's like
I think it's the facial hair. I think Florida Kevin O'Sullivan's a Yankee guy. That doesn't hurt. Kevin O'Sullivan's a Yankee guy, so they are clean shaven. This is probably the longest I've ever seen their hair allowed to be. And then also if you're winning, you're not going to change things. So I think there's even some stubble on Florida's faces. LSU. They've always just been, hey man, have fun. So you've got some weird facial hair. Also there's some not to body shame. They've got some bodies on that team.
Bad bodies out there, man.
Riley Cooper, who came over from Arizona with Jay Johnson, their coach, is the lefty. Does not look like Florida Gator legend Riley Cooper. Looks like 3 of him stacked together next to each other. LSU's a little bit of an older team, but not as old as my Twitter mentions were asking.
I felt like even though as bad as we played the game 1 versus LSU, it felt like we had some better plate discipline. We still could have won that.
Yeah, it's tough. The kid Ty through. It's scientists, physicists will tell you that the ball cannot rise, but when you're at the plate, the way that he throws the ball with the backspin that he gets on it, the ball will look like it's riding up on you. And I think you saw Florida take some pitches right down the middle, anticipating the ball to ride like that. And then it's frustrating watching on TV when you're swinging at balls that are here, at your eyes, and then watching them right down the middle. But it's coming in at 97 miles an hour. You're making very, very millisecond quick decisions. So Ty Floyd just had a great game. I mean, broke the record for strikeouts in a game. Sometimes you walk to the park and the pitcher just has it. And you got to tip your cap to him. Florida was a little bit more selective, but it's I've watched. I think this is game 71. I've watched 70 games this year.
Mm-hmm.
That's Florida's an aggressive hitting team. They have big swings. They want to hit extra base hits and hit home runs. People are screaming at me who, God bless you, but just parachuted in, and they're like, why aren't they bunting? It's like, well, they haven't bunted. They haven't bunted all year. You're not going to start doing it now. Florida's team, the hitting philosophy is hit and jog. But it's been a great World Series, and I think in baseball you don't always get. I think a lot of times in basketball you'll get the best team will win. In football, I think we see over and over, especially now with NIL and with the transfer portal, the best teams are winning. In baseball, you can just run into a hot pitcher. Coastal Carolina won a national championship. Like Coastal Carolina's football team, I don't know how big you would have to expand the college football playoffs to have them win a national championship in football. It's probably just not going to happen. I think the three best teams in the country all year long were the last three teams playing in Wake Forest, LSU, and Florida. So we've had a great World Series, some great games, and one more.
So the Gators play tonight at 7:00 Eastern time out in Omaha, and then you can go welcome Nick back, win or lose, at the barbershop at 3. Give it 3:30 tomorrow.
What a wild come home party, Silk. Doing it at the barbershop.
Right now, the Gators are plus 115 underdogs today. So the Tigers, our LSU is minus 145 to win. According to our friends over at Sportsline, the over-under on the game is 9 runs. So you can bet on that should that be something of interest to you. I like the Gators, as always, especially to beat LSU. Make sure that all of those Jell-O shots that otherwise aren't going to charity were all in vain. And I hope you enjoy the Bayou.
How you feel about before we get off of baseball? How do you feel about Cags? Is he starting this game? It was a little rough. There's a lot of big anxiety. I ran through a lot of my supply watching him start that game. Man, it seemed like erratic pitching at some time. It didn't seem like he was in control. What do you think about that?
Florida's the only team in the country that has had 3 pitchers start every single game on the weekend. Now, when they play like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, sometimes they've switched who will pitch first, who will pitch second. But it goes to show you how consistent the weekend pitching has been. So, like I said, you're in game 70, 71 now. You're not going to change that. I think Jack Caglione will have a short leash. Maybe like one of the, not even a leash, maybe like one of those 90s chokers. Things. Yeah. If he gets in trouble, I think Florida will quickly go to Ryan Slater or Cade Fisher out of the bullpen, Red Panda forever, with Cade Fisher, and then Brandon Neely. So Florida did not want to throw Brandon Neely or Cade Fisher yesterday, but they would have. If they needed to go with Brandon Neely, they would have gone with him, in a close, tight game on Sunday night. But the game was neither close nor tight. And Florida was able to throw St. Thomas Aquinas legend, Blake Purnell. Great coaching by Coral Springs legend, David Kopp.
Yep.
And Nick Ficarota. Purnell hadn't thrown in a month. Ficarota had thrown just 3 1/3 innings. So you used some guys who hadn't really played a huge role in the tournament. So you're able to get rest for the guys that you want tonight. So Florida comes in with Jack Caglione pitching on short rest, really for the first time in his career. So how does that affect him? And then the command with him has been an issue all year long. He's coming off of Tommy John surgery. This is the first full year he's pitched since Tommy John. So I think one of the last things to come back is your command. And he's been working hard on it just to have repeatable mechanics to be able to throw more strikes. But I don't think that you're not going to see Jack out there walking guys for 3 innings. If it becomes clear that he doesn't have it, on Monday night, Florida has 3 guys, that they can go 2 innings, 3 innings. You'd like to maybe go tonight, I guess if Jack can throw 6 scoreless, you're not taking him out, but I think he'll he'll have a short leash tonight, and Florida's bullpen's rested.
Nick, we do have a question there from Chris Sorley. Appreciate you listening, Chris. Who's pitching tonight for LSU and Florida? I know you just mentioned Cags.
Got those 4, yep.
Yep. For LSU, I know that there's some discussion. Maybe committee.
Paul Skenes is the best pitcher in the country. I don't think that is even up for debate. Maybe Rhett Lauder from Wake Forest. But Paul Skenes, for my money, is the best pitcher in the country. The problem is he has thrown 243 pitches in the last 9 days. Can you use him? Does he want the ball? 100%. He's going to want the ball. He's going to ask for it. As a manager, when a guy who is probably going to be the number 1 overall pick on July 9th, so however many days that is in a week, a little over a week's time.
I believe that's 13 days if my math is mathing.
He'll probably be the number 1 overall pick. That comes with cash in as high as $9.7 million. And if I'm that person's agent, I'm freaking out. If I'm that person's dad, I'm freaking out. If I'm the manager, I don't know if I can live with myself. If I put this kid out there because I want to win a national championship, he wants to win it, and he blows his arm out.
Yeah.
Paul's 6'6", 250. He's big and strong. He can probably handle the workload. I think you would have to have him on a pitch count, clearly. What is that pitch count? Is it 20? Is it 30? Is it 40? Someone said 60 the other day, and my eyes kind of like
a lot of pitches
popped open. That's a lot of pitches. And then do you start him and think, hey, we'll just see how long he can go? He's pitching on 3 days rest after throwing 120 pitches. And this isn't like the major leagues. I know a lot of people look at it and they're like, well, everyone pitches on 5 days rest in the majors. In college baseball, Paul Skenes pitched every Friday, so he would get 6 days in between every start. He's got a routine to, run and get the lactic acid out of your arm, get stem work, get a massage, throw, do a bullpen. So it's not the major leagues. This is college baseball. He's usually on a 1 game a week schedule. This would be the 3rd game he's pitched in 10 days, and he's thrown 100 plus pitches in the first 2. So to me, I see both sides. It's the last game of the year. You have a chance to win a national championship. He wants to compete. He wants to pitch and play and win a national championship. He has a very long career ahead of him.
Yeah.
While winning a national championship is cool,
he's going to go on and do bigger, better things. Unless
like
he
those
stays
dad buys on the team.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Unless he
These are
stays.
things you like to hear. You know, you want him to be selfish. I want him to be selfish. You know,
For sure.
I watched him pitch the other day. He's an incredible pitcher. Would hate to not see that in the major leagues. Would love just rest tonight.
Yeah, he's great. But also, what do you look like? You've never pitched on this short of rest after throwing this many pitches. Are you? I tend to think Paul Skenes will be Paul Skenes anytime he's on the mound. But that's the biggest question. That's $1 million question.
Well, Cameron Ty Evans up there in Jackson for 2 grand slams in the first inning. Then.
Yeah, talking to some national writers, they said that Jay Johnson has a history of kind of using arms like this. So I will not be surprised to see.
A man of no ethics at LSU. It's just things that just surprise.
I won't be surprised to see Paul. But then do you save him to close out a game? But if you're not in a situation where you would close out a game, then you don't use him. So I wonder if they would start him and maybe let him throw the first 2-3 innings, see where his pitch count is. But this guy's legit. I think he's got like 219 strikeouts to 21 walks on the year.
Yeah. Well, if he does pitch today, I hope the knee pads are brought by the announcers because they will be on their knees the entire game while he's in play. So
just make it sweeter.
Nick,
makes the win sweeter when they just hyping LSU like that, man. We just scored like 50 runs and they still talking about LSU and mustaches, man. How historic was both? We're gonna get off of baseball, but I know the game 1 versus LSU was like a historic number of strikeouts, and then we turned around and had a historic batting night. How significant was both of those nights in baseball world?
Okay, we're gonna run long here. Florida yesterday broke the school record for wins in a season with 54. Jack Caglione broke the single season record for RBIs in a year. He broke the NCAA BB core record, which is the BB core is the technology for the bat. They changed the bats to make the bats worse because guys were hitting balls too hard. That's why, I think somebody hit like 57 home runs, or 47 home runs, 57 home runs, something like that is the record. And like the bats they were using were like trampolines. Balls just fly off of them. So that record's never going to be broken. So it's the BB core era with 33 home runs. Let me pull this up, make sure I have all of the records. Florida is, I think, 6 home runs. Was tied for the second most in a College World Series game. LSU hit 8 in 1998, and those were with those hot bats I was talking about. It's the most home runs at the field. What else? I think Wyatt Langford became the 3rd player ever to hit 20 home runs in back-to-back seasons.
I thought he ended game 1, bro. I jumped out of my seat and I was like, oh, and then he caught it.
If that ball is like an inch or 2 higher, Florida's dogpiling yesterday. And that's baseball. That's baseball. And then that inch or 2 higher probably is if his bat is tilted 1 millimeter differently, gives you 2 more inches in the outfield. I guess, what's the last one? The last one is 24 runs is the most ever scored in a College World Series game.
Nice.
It was a lot.
Yeah, yesterday was a historic game. I heard the ESPN announcers seemed very disappointed about Ty Evans' grand slam.
Did they tell you what kind of beard balm Paul uses to get that little twist?
No, it was the most anticlimactic home run I've ever heard of my life.
LSU's home run in the bottom of the 9th felt a lot like Florida's field goal in the Las Vegas Bowl.
Yeah, no, but when the Gators hit I think it was the first home run. I don't think it was the grand slam. Maybe somebody in the chat can help me out. I forgot. But anyways, it was an early on home run in the game. They had 6, so it's hard to forget or hard to remember.
Shout out to Ty Evans. Ty had played in three games the last month. He was in a really bad slump. Got replaced in the lineup by Tyler Shelnut. And something that really sticks out to me about this Florida team is just that there's no egos. Like Ty Evans would be starting for a lot of teams and wasn't for the last month. There's guys, Blake Purnell, Nick Ficarota, they would have major roles on other teams. And you can quickly get upset about how you're being used. And you see that all the time across sports, football, basketball, baseball, guys leaving, being upset, becoming a cancer in the locker room. He didn't. Gets a call to pinch hit against Virginia, hits a double, then a home run. Ty Evans has as many home runs in the College World Series as any player ever. He also has as many home runs in the College World Series as he had during the regular season.
Wow. He's a gamer, showed up. Shout out to him. Shout out to the whole team. I know a lot of people were getting mad at the top of the lineup for the way that they've played. And
that ended.
Yeah, a lot of tweets got deleted yesterday. Obviously, you want more and you expect more, and hopefully they continue.